Well, hello. What's up? My name is D, and together we are Guiding D-Light. Whoo, man. Two in a row. Right? Doing good at this consistency thing so far, right? I guess many more to come, but settle on in. Here we go. Just got to check a few things here. Going live. I'm going to try a couple new things, which is exciting, of course. Anytime we're doing something new, right? Creation at its finest. But yeah, welcome in. I hope you guys are doing well. It's been an interesting week, has it not? For me, a lot of the chatter slowed down. There's a lot of the just kind of dealing with myself, which was nice. Energy was fantastic off that solar flare, right? Whew. I think until about Tuesday night, maybe Wednesday, some midday in there. That's when it kind of started slowing down a little bit. And then I got a little bit tired. All right. Wednesday and Thursday, I was a little droggy. All right. My body missed that high frequency energy, right? When it was rolling through and we weren't having to expel any of our life force, right? We were getting so much energy within the body that none of our life force, we had to use our own, right? So it was like an abundance of energy. And then that energy is gone and the body got used to it, right? And it wanted it. So went into that self love of the self healing, right? And just kind of relaxing my body. Busy week. We had baseball games almost every day, but today, very fun to watch the boys compete and have fun. It was interesting. We played the other team of the school, right? So we know the kids on the other team, we know the parents, and it's hard. It's hard to be like competitive and like root against them, right? Because you want to see them all do good. But it was interesting at that. But in the same sense, it was fun. We did take home the victory, right? Which I'm proud of because I'm the head coach. Got them boys buying in. Fun stuff. I'm actually going to get up in the morning and go coach them up some more so they can get better. With that being said, everybody's filing in. Come on in. It's nice and smooth. We got the calmness of the ethers around us. Feeling excited. So, something that kind of came to my awareness as I was becoming more aware was the David Haskins map consciousness, right? So David Haskins, which is kind of interesting, he did pass over right at the I think it was 12/21/2020. First opportunity to pass over in that new energy. That divine soul mission, and that's exactly what he did. But he left us a lot of good breadcrumbs, if you right. And I haven't yet to read the book. A little stubborn on that. I need to read the book Power versus Force. I really feel like there's a lot of similarities that I've discovered on my own that are in that book. When we think of power versus force, sometimes we want to force our power, right? And when you force things, sometimes you push against it, you're pushing it away, right? So to stay in your power and not to force things and allow the universe to bring you, um, you know, the abundance, the prosperity, and everything that you truly desire in this world, right? Sometimes we feel like we need to make a strong effort, right? I know for me personally, how I grew up with my standards and my morals, it was like work hard, right? So that's what one of the things I'm good at, right? If I'm kind of lost in my way at anything, right? What am I going to do? I'm going to put my shoes on. I'm going to go outside and get some work done, right? Like hard work has always been a thing, but there's times when we need to work less, right? It's a very interesting balance, that power versus force. So if you've read it, I'm sure you've gotten some good insights on that. More to come on that for sure when I come on. But the whole consciousness map, right? I know I put up a map in the past about how the emotions affect us, right? And kind of a map between the whirlwinds of emotions and how they bring your frequencies up or down, right? Because emotions are very powerful things. But for this David Haskins map here, I'm getting ready to bring it up. It's very interesting how he was able to put this out there, right? And I really hate putting labels on things and trying to define things within certain dimensions and frequency bandwidths, because in my opinion, that puts a limitation on it, right? And I know a lot of us light workers out there feel that same way. It's like when you start classifying it and separate and segregating it, right? You're kind of mushing it all up, right? And from my understanding, my aspects and the way that I've progressed, ascended, um, became more enlightened, was bringing everything together, right? Not mushing it up, but combining it into the piece, right? Taking all those fractals and putting them into that perfect marble of my soul, right? So, with that being said, this is a good linear way of perceiving higher energies, right? But in the same sense, there is labels on it. I might not agree with 100% with the way it's laid out, but it's very telling, and there's a lot of truth that comes out of it. So, I'm going to pull it up without any further ado, and we're going to check this out. So we got a couple people in the chat. What's up? Hope you guys are doing well. Friday night. I know my Friday nights, I used to always look forward to getting crazy, right? Now I'm like, let's get the energy going. I'm gonna pop into the Zoom room. Shout out to all the high vibe tribe, the bird tribe, even Team Light over there in Arizona. What's going on? Team Light across the world, right? It's not just Arizona. Pretty much all my brothers and sisters out there that are continuing to strive, grow themselves, and empower themselves. My heart's out to you, and I appreciate you guys 100%. So, with all that being said, I'm going to try to pull this up. Now, bear with me. I think it's going to work. But here goes nothing. A little transition to the transition. Can you still see me? All right, cool. Let me just check real quick. So hopefully you're seeing the map of consciousness right now. I'm going to pop on my phone real quick and just make sure. Yep. Okay, perfect. Looking good. Looking real good. All right. So I'm expecting you guys can see my little cursor, right? But let's keep our attention on the actual upside down triangle. Okay. Let's not start reading everything outside the triangle. Let's just look at the inside of the triangle. Okay. If you see down towards the bottom, we've got the third dimension. That's linear. That's where we all come from, right? We get brainwashed into this world and we get programmed with what our parents' belief system that was instilled in them, right? So as we're instilling other belief systems within our own selves, we start crawling out of that third dimension and going into the fourth dimension. Apologize. I'm trying to get this phone plugged back in before it dies. So that way it is ready for the higher level conversations after the vid. If you're interested in getting into the higher level conversations, please don't hesitate to reach out, send me an email. We will give you the information. Just a small screening to make sure, you're not going to try to quantumly entangle somebody into a mess, right? But with that being said, okay, we're looking at shame, we're looking at guilt, we're looking at grief, we're looking at fear, okay? That's all the bottom stuff. And what I think is really interesting about this map is the colors, right? Those colors are very much associated with red. Now, there's obviously different shades of red. There's the magentas of the red too, but it's very interesting how that lower frequencies kind of like that amberish red, right? And then we start coming into more of the self power, right? That self, and it's related to the solar plex chakra, but that's yellow. Okay. So we're looking at the third dimension and coming in that yellow. That's pride. Okay. Well, I had a lot of anger and pride in me growing up, right? Angry at a few different things with the way the world worked. Obviously, school wasn't as nice as it was for some. Of course, a common light worker thing just never really fit in with anybody at school, right? And kind of didn't want to be a part of a clique. So I tried to be a part of all the cliques. And yeah, you're just the odd man out at that point. But that's all right, because I still had a lot of pride and courage, right? And I literally lived off of pride, but I didn't realize how my pride was holding me back, right? And that pride, kind of ties into the ego a little bit, but the pride in myself, right? To have good manners, right? To stand to stand tall and firm, right? With good posture. Coming into that pride and courage, walking out of that, coming into neutrality, right? Seeing not such a sharp edge on things. Okay. Willingness to see, right? And if you look at the far right column here, we're coming out of the victim / abuser consciousness, right? And that victim abuser consciousness is nasty because the fear, the thought programming, everything that's associated with the victim, right? It's that lack mentality, right? When truly we are abundant creatures, right? Our abundance is naturally given to us, but we construct thought patterns to keep us from obtaining the abundance we've already created, right? It's very interesting how that works. The mind's a very powerful thing. And we've talked about that many times, and we will continue to talk about how powerful the thoughts are. But when you come into that willingness and that acceptance, you're stepping into that self empowerment, right? Now we're getting up into the inner light. So you're starting to get an inner light inside you, right? You're accepting the fact that you've been programmed. You're accepting the fact that you've been lied to. You're accepting the fact that you've been hoodwinked, right? There's all these acceptance factors that go into kind of coming into that inner light, right? It's not just coming right into the inner light. Of course, through some Reiki sessions or some energy, sound healing, they can raise that natural frequency, right, during the event. But wherever your mind and your thought patterns and everything are, it's going to drag you back into that lower frequency if you still have some grief, right? Especially guilt and shame, right? That's why I always say never be hard on yourself, right? You are your worst critic. So why shame yourself? If you look at shame, it's almost at the bottom of the list. It is the bottom of the list, right? And then you shame yourself. And what do now you feel guilty about it, right? I shouldn't have done that. You know? And then you have the grief, and then you got to get over the fear. It's very interesting. So obviously, if we can stay around neutrality, that's a perfect goal, especially for someone who is still living in a little bit of fear or grief. Okay. So we're coming out of the victor, we're coming into the victor, right? Of the self-realization. So that inner light starts to pick up, right? And that's that energy you feel through you. That's that life force energy, right? That we all love and dear to our hearts and desire to just radiate the magna flow out of the heart, right? And then we come into the inner wisdom. So we're getting the inner wisdom mixed with our outer wisdom, which is making us more acceptance and willing to grow, especially if we choose to change and we choose to take the higher path of enlightenment, right? To work on the aspects of ourselves that we may not desire to, right? To peel back the layers of the onion, right? It's almost like a molting process, okay? You have all these different layers of the onion. As you peel them off and get back into the core of you, well, once you get back in, you start growing layers again. So it's like you molt, you shed all your layers, you come back into the seed of you, and you grow new layers and you grow wider and more expansive, right? So obviously we're in spring, right? We obviously got to pay attention to our seasons because Mother Nature teaches us quite a bit, but we're in spring, so we're in that growth, right? We shedded a lot of layers over the last really 10 months, in my opinion. Well, now 9 months ago. Wait, time flows away. But we're starting to grow those layers back, right? And when these different layers grow back, you could call them timelines if you want, but these different scenarios are happening that are patterns, right? And how we accept and the willingness to change the pattern, right? To correct ourselves as part of our evolutional makeup for sure. So coming in a new humanity consciousness with that inner wisdom, and we come into inner love. So inner love is very, I almost want to call that fearlessness, right? When you have a fearlessness, you have such charisma within the body that you're not afraid to do anything. And that if somebody tells you you can't do it, you still don't do it. In fact, kind of like my MO growing up as a kid, right? If you tell me I can't do something, I'm going to do it. I used to fix like all kinds of weird stuff as a kid. And they were like, it's broke. You can't fix it. And, I just love that gratitude that I got when I fixed it. And then the parents being like, oh, you fixed it. I thought it was broken. I was going to throw it away. Case in point, my brother had a Walkman. I always wanted a Walkman. Never had a Walk. I got a Panasonic. It's not the same. The Walkman, you could walk, man. What are you doing?
She wants you to share that dream.
Oh, goodness. The kids are up. All right, we'll go back inside. I'll be right there. Oh, looks like we're going to have to do a part 2. A little sleepy. With that in mind, we will be back hopefully shortly here. You okay, Elsie? Okay, I got to end this.
What a bum.
Peace